Don't freeze. That was the real warning whispered in darkened homes across the 1940s, long after the sirens faded and the lights were cut. Bombs grabbed attention, but cold did the quiet damage. When blackouts began, they were absolute. Windows had to vanish. Any trace of light risked punishment, and worse, thick blackout curtains were pulled tight every evening, turning homes into sealed shadows. Coal deliveries shrank. Fire hours were restricted. Many families could afford only a brief burst of heat before night truly settled in. Once the flames died, the cold crept back fast, sliding under doors and pooling near the floor. But something unexpected happened in those dark rooms. People noticed that once everything was sealed, the heat they already had stayed longer. The blackout didn't just hide light, it slowed the cold. Blackout curtains were not decorative. They were heavy, dense, and often homemade. Wool blankets, felt, layered cloth, even old coats were stitched together and hung over windows. Their purpose was simple. No light escapes, but these thick barriers blocked drafts far better than thin pre-war curtains ever had. Cold air leaking through window frames was suddenly stopped dead. The glass behind the fabric stopped radiating winter chill into the room. Houses that had always felt icy after sunset now held warmth just a little longer. Families doubled up curtains. Some stuffed newspaper or cardboard between the window and fabric, not because anyone explained insulation theory, but because it made the room feel less hostile. The blackout curtain quietly became one of the most effective heating tools in the house. As fuel shortages deepened, people stopped trying to heat entire homes. That was impossible. Instead, they shrank their world. One room became the center of nightlife. Doors were closed tight. Drafty hallways were abandoned. Furniture was pulled inward to create smaller spaces. Blankets were hung over doorways like soft walls. Then came the most revealing adaptation of all. People created rooms inside rooms. Beds were transformed into enclosed spaces using sheets, coats, or blankets draped over chairs and headboards. These makeshift canopies trapped body heat, lowering the volume of air that needed warming. Breath itself became a heat source. What looked desperate was actually efficient. Families didn't talk about it as a strategy. They just knew it meant less shivering before sleep. When fires were allowed, they were treated with precision. Heat was never wasted. Bricks, stones, and metal objects were placed near the hearth during the permitted hours, soaking up warmth. Before bed, they were wrapped in cloth and carried to sleeping areas. Hot water bottles were filled carefully and reused through the night, sometimes passed from one person to another as they cooled. Beds were pre-warmed hours in advance if possible, turning sleep into the warmest part of the day. Heat was no longer something fixed in one place. It became portable. One of the most overlooked shifts of blackout winters was how people dressed. Day clothes didn't come off at night. Wool stayed on. Sweaters were slept in. Hats were worn in bed without embarrassment. Socks doubled and tripled. Scarves protected necks from cold air sinking toward the floor. Thin cotton sleepwear disappeared. Warmth came from layers, not appearance. The body itself became part of the heating system. Modern homes rely on machines to do this work. Back then, fabric and discipline did the job. When the war ended, people wanted light back more than anything. Fuel returned. Central heating slowly spread. Homes were redesigned with larger windows and lighter curtains. Blackout methods faded because they reminded people of fear and hardship. No one wanted to remember nights spent whispering in cold, dark rooms. The knowledge wasn't written down. It didn't feel like progress, so it vanished quietly, even though it had been incredibly effective. Rising energy costs, unstable power, harsh winters, and emergencies have brought these lessons back into relevance. The people of the 1940s were not survival experts. They were ordinary civilians adapting fast. They learned that warmth doesn't come from heating everything. It comes from controlling space, airflow, and heat already present. Seal the windows, reduce the room, layer the body. These aren't outdated tricks. They are timeless principles, proven under pressure. No medals were handed out for this knowledge. No manuals were printed. It passed quietly from neighbor to neighbor, parent to child. It kept children sleeping. It kept elders alive. It kept spirits steady when the nights felt endless. This is why stories like this belong on the forgotten war fronts. History isn't just trenches and tactics. Sometimes it's a family, a curtain, and a room made small enough to stay warm. If this story revealed something you've never heard before, make sure it doesn't stay forgotten. Subscribe, share, and keep these quiet lessons alive, because not every war was fought with weapons, and not every victory was loud.